Hi guys, and welcome back to my triathlon YouTube channel. So in today's video, I thought I would talk you through Ironman UK. So Ironman Bolton, Ironman UK, whatever you want to call it, the Ironman that's in Bolton, that is no longer. So in 2023, I did the full distance Ironman in Bolton, Ironman UK. And after I'd done the race, they then announced that they weren't doing that race anymore. So it was the last race. I didn't know it was going to be the last race. That's a very local race to me, and that's the one I wanted to do because I knew that family members could come and things like that. But, big but, they are doing the 70.3 Ironman UK again this year. They did it a few years ago. They're now doing it again. So that's going on in June. It's going to be the same place for the swim. The bike course is different. It looks a lot friendlier. I think they've tried to make it like more beginner friendly for the UK because the Ironman Bolton full course was like super hilly. So I believe that the bike course is a lot flatter. I do intend to go and do the bike course and take you along and just like give you some tips of, oh, this is a downhill, this is a pothole, and do all things like that. And then the run, I believe, is also quite similar to the full distance course, so up and down Chorley New Road. Now I'm going to give a bit of a debrief of what went down at the full Ironman event. So it was in July. I wanted to do it before my 30th birthday, which was like 2 weeks later. I will do a separate video where I talk about like what I did before the Ironman, like how I trained for an Ironman. But one thing I would say, if you are watching this, like my USP is that I want normal people to do triathlon. Now you don't have to be this like super incredible person that's doing 30 hours a week of training the Ironman, because it's not realistic. You don't need to do that. I think on average I probably did like 15 hours a week max, and some people may be watching this and thinking, well, if you'd have put 10 more hours in, you would have got a faster time than you did. That's probably very true, but you know, I have a full-time job, I have a life, I have family, I have friends, so for me that wasn't like an option. But what I want to say is that you can do that. You could probably even do the Ironman full off like 10 hours of training a week. Everyone that's on Instagram that's influencing people to do Ironman, like, oh, this is my 5th session in the day. All right, welcome to the flipping real world. Like, and that real world is that you don't have time to do all of that. So the swim, we get there. And I'm hoping to give you some tips here on the 70.3 that's coming up, because it is the same swim. So the swim is at Pennington Flash. I have swam a lot at Pennington Flash. Pennington Flash for me is literally about 10 minutes away, if that. Johnny's come to join us. 10 minutes away, I've swam there a lot. When you go and practice swimming at Pennington Flash, so if you want to book into the open water session beforehand, I think it's still running. I know there was like talk of it not going on anymore. Maybe it's not, I don't know, maybe let's just check that. But if you did, then the actual Pennington Flash entrance is where the swim is, whereas where the training sessions was up near the sailing club. So it's a different part of Pennington Flash, but obviously it's still the same water. You can't park there. You park over near the Morrison's car park, which is Lee Sports Village. You park there and you walk onto the bridge, and then you're at the swim start. I would take trainers because it's like super muddy and like the grass is all wet and you don't want to wear sliders because you feel the cold. So when you get to the swim, yeah, Pennington Flash is it's quite the experience, especially if you're coming from the south. So the water is gross. Kelly and I once saw them pull out a dead swan when we were about to swim in there. Like, the water is not crystal clear. It's not clear at all. So be prepared for that like murky water vibes. And it's got probably a lot of like bird poo and other crap in there. To overcome that, they do give you Coke when you finish the swim. It's optional. My suggestion and advice would be that you take that 10-30 seconds to drink that Coke, because when I did the full distance, I know a lot of people ended up with stomach issues, and I think they said that was because of the swim. Just taking that Coke and it kills all that other bacteria. The swim start is like, if you've not done an Ironman before, or if you've done a triathlon before that has this, it's kind of one of those like where they like seed you into the run, so into the swim. So I think it's like what, 5 or 10 second intervals, and like they let you go as like a 2 and they like lift your arm up. Irrelevant. It's an absolute washing machine when you start. You might as well just roll started as a mass start. I am an okay swimmer, and I wanted to get like around the hour mark. I came out the water in an hour and 2. I situated myself towards the front of the swim, so perhaps it was not as bad as the back. So if you're not as confident, maybe go more towards the back, because I don't think it will be as aggressive. I was around a lot of men, and they ain't treating you like any different to the other guys. So like I did get hit, and like people honestly, people drag your legs. Like, that's not to scare you, but it's just like, just prepare yourself for that mentally. You've really got to be strong when you start the swim. So this was a 2-lap course. I think for the half Ironman it will be 1 lap, which is great, because then you're not catching up the slower swimmers towards the back. And you know, there's a place for everyone in Ironman. It's absolutely fine that people are doing the Ironman swim close to the cut-off time, but when you are coming through, it's intimidating to them when you're trying to like get around them, and it's also quite frustrating for you. So that will be avoided, hopefully. Pennington Flash, in all my training sessions that I did, it was gorgeous and flat. You know, I was like, oh, an hour, easy, bloody 50 minutes I'll do. On the day, it was so windy. Like, it was so windy, and for the bike it was so windy, but for the swim it was like swimming in the ocean. So it was super choppy, and then you've got all the swimmers in there as well, just making it more and more choppy. Like, so just get used to, know that it's not going to be flat, because it's like, that would be great on a good day, but it's probably not going to be flat and like nice and oh, this is gorgeous swim. Water temperature, it's like pretty standard. It's not like freezing, but it's like, you know, just like British temperatures. It's in June, I think, the half distance, isn't it? So it's a couple of weeks before this one was, or a week before, so I doubt it makes that much of a difference. Obviously you'll be wearing a wetsuit, and you'll get your cap. I wear a double cap with my own cap underneath, then goggles, then a cap over the top. I wear contact lenses. I don't swim in them when I'm training, but for a race I do swim in them, because I'm not going to faff around my contacts for the bike. So I like to secure my goggles underneath my cap. Came out in about 1:02, and I believe that was like 4th in the age group or 5th woman out, or something like that. I know, like, when I came out I felt like a bit of a movie star. People were like, oh god, it's a girl, it's a girl. I don't know why people are like that. I think it's because it's not like Ironman UK Bolton is not like a very feminine, not feminine, but it's not like, you don't get a lot of female participants, basically. I don't know why that is. I think it's because it is a really tough course. So for on the course, when you're on the bike, the run, the swim, you do get like a lot more cheers from fellow women that are watching, which I quite like. Came out, transition 1 is there at Pennington Flash, which is where obviously your bike is. So you're going into T1, you go into a little tent and you take your wetsuit off and you put it, this before, by the way, before the Ironman, I was like, I don't get my head around this. What do you mean? You put your stuff in a bag and you're not near your bike. That is so confusing if you've never done an Ironman, but it's not confusing. So you come in, you take your wetsuit off, you put your stuff in like this special bag that you're given, and you just give it them. They give you your bike one, and then like you go to your bike and then you get on your bike. So then I hit the bike, which is, as you know, or you may not know, is 112 miles. Prior to this, I'd never cycled that far before. I'd never done 100 miles before. I think the first I'd done was like 70 miles. That might shock some people. Like, when I was on the course, I was speaking to a guy and he was like, you've never done the full distance? Like, you've never done 100 miles? Oh, no. So you don't need to do it. Like, you don't need to do it. It was a really, really windy day. I hadn't expected the bike to take as long as it did. I expected to do the bike in about 7.5 hours or 7 hours 50. It's an extremely hilly course, so with Ironman, no course seems to be the same, so you can't really like compare times of courses, unless like you're comparing it to other people on the course or previous results from that course, and even then it changes, like the bike changes. So this day was like really windy. I had deep section wheels on, which were blowing me all over the place. I wasn't very confident on the bike, unfortunately. Like, the descending, I just felt really sketchy. Bolton is also notorious for potholes and not great like road conditions. I had practiced a lot on this road before, so I did know where the worst kind of potholes were, and obviously the roads were closed, so that allowed you to use more of the road. But I would say if you are going training around there, just be careful, because I know of people that have injured themselves just before the Ironman. So it's definitely, it's not smooth roads. It's not like how I imagine abroad Ironmans are, Portugal, Barcelona, things like that. By the time I got to the last lap, so it was 3 laps, the last loop, in my head I was like, I just want to get back safely. So by this point my speed and power had gone way down, and I was just obsessed with getting back safely. I knew my family were waiting for me. I knew my mum would be worried, so I just wanted to like get back. Throughout the bike, my nutrition strategy was the Science in Sport beta fuel beta? No, it was just the carb drink that I showed on a previous video. So it was just the carb drink. 2 big 1 litre bottles, I think. Yeah, the big precision hydration bottles with electrolyte in each, and then I had another bottle of water as well. So I had a bottle in my frame, and then I had 2 on the back of my seat with like elastic band around it. When I came to change the bottle, I'll be honest, I pulled over to the side of the road and I swapped my bottles around, right? There is no way I am messing up my whole Ironman because I've decided to do like some acrobatic trick and swap my bottles around and juggle my bottles mid-ride. So I did pull over and I swapped them over. It took like 5 seconds. I was on the bike for 8 hours, so it really didn't make that much of a difference. I found that nutrition strategy worked fine for me. I'd practiced it. I didn't take any hard food or any solids. I went to the toilet once for a wee on the last loop at the top of the loop because I knew that it would be busy down at transition. That was the only time I went to the portal. It's the only time I went to the toilet in the whole 14 hours that I was racing, so that worked well for my stomach. So then I came in off the bike at 8 hours. At this point, a lot of people were being cut off apparently. So people that were going out on their second loop, or maybe, yeah, I think it would have been their second loop or third loop, and they weren't going to make the cut off. My family were watching it and they said like it was really sad because people were coming around like all enthusiastic, ready to go out again, and they were like cutting them off. It just goes to show that it was like bad weather. I think it was the highest non-finisher Bolton race there's been, so people like being cut off, and I think there was only about 80 women that finished in total. I think they're the start. Either 80 women finished or 80 women started. Either way, it was 80. So I'm really grateful that I wasn't cut off. It wasn't even in my mind at the time, to be honest, because yeah, I was just like riding and I was really trying to enjoy it. There was loads of spectators, like loads of people just like cheering you on, and if you give to them, they give back. So like if you smile at them and acknowledge that they're taking the day out to cheer you on, like you do get like a lot of encouragement back. It literally takes, well, it doesn't take any energy to smile, does it? And they really notice it and they're like, woo, yeah, go. And I came in off the bike, so then the second transition was in the park. I think it's Queen's Park, which I think it's at for the 70.3. There was all my run stuff. So again, I came in off the bike, didn't take my shoes off and leave them at the bike. I went into this like weird tent again, shoes off, and then put the shoes in my bag, and in that bag that I would put my shoes in, I took my running shoes out of, and a little cap and sunglasses or whatever else I needed. And then off I went onto the run, and at that point I was like, by this point I've actually just been exercising for 9 hours. 9 hours. I must say as well, all nerves are gone by this point. So at the swim start I was crying. Like I was crying. I didn't think, like, I thought it was gonna, like, it's just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm not fit enough, yada yada. When I was on the bike I was like, oh, this is great, I'm fit enough, woo. And there was no point in my mind that I wasn't gonna finish the bike, and that had been such a big worry beforehand. So when I came off, I honestly thought to myself, it's just a marathon. Bearing in mind I've done 2 marathons before this. My first one was London a few years ago, and I think I did 4 hours and 20 or 4 hours and 16 or something like that. And then Manchester just before this Ironman in the April was 3 hours and 56. So I knew I could do a marathon, and also in my head I thought, well, even with a marathon you can walk. Like you could walk, like it would take you a long time, but you could walk, you can stop. Whereas on the bike, I was like, you can't just stop pedaling. You know, you just stop pedaling one minute. You can't just stop pedaling, you have to keep your legs turning. So when I was going into the run, I thought, it's fine, like I can walk through the aid stations, and that's exactly what I did. Set off thinking, yeah, this is it, marathon, here we go. And I set off actually feeling really good. And then, as with all races for me, the halfway point, which is so weird, it's not even like the 17 miler, it's literally like less than halfway, that's when it really hits me. Like my head goes and I'm like, I can't finish it, I cannot finish it. So for this it was 4 loops, yeah, 4 loops. And as part of this loop, which is what the 70.3 course is, you go up and down this road called Chorley New Road. My oh my, my oh my. That is a long road. That is so long. Like, you don't, where's the end? And then you literally just turn around at the end, and as you're going further and further away, there's less and less people, like less and less spectators, and it's honestly, it's like you're just going on the road to nowhere. And it's like a slight uphill. Like, no matter which way you're going, it's uphill, I swear. There must be one way that's downhill, but I swear it feels like uphill the whole way. Only a slight incline. So that road I found really tough, like really mentally difficult. The park was fine, there's loads of people there, you can fake it till you make it. The centre of Bolton was fine, again, fake it till you make it. You get a sight of the finish line, but that Chorley New Road is like mentally tough. I did start walking, I walked through all of the aid stations. I really wanted Coca-Cola the most. That was like literally what I wanted the most. I didn't really crave the other things that were given out, but I thought if I can make it every mile to that aid station, I can walk for, you know, 10 meters, 15 meters, whatever it is, and like mentally that was fine. And then I really craved sparkling water. So I had sparkling water. You can have like an aid bag like that you can collect halfway around. I had sparkling water saved my bacon. I had the sparkling water, suddenly it was like I transformed. And then I did the second half of the marathon, or like the final third, literally 9-minute miles. The first part I was doing it like 12-minute miles. So yeah, and then I did have a crying moment with Greg when he was running alongside me, and I was like, I actually can't do it. And I kept being like, my whole body is tired, like I am tired, like everything is tired. And then I have this water, and obviously I faked it like to my family. I was like, oh yeah, I'm really enjoying it, I'm having such a good time. I'm really glad I've spent £1,000 to be here. So then I pulled myself together, and I was like fine towards the end. By this point, to be honest, the course was getting quite, there wasn't a lot of people out there, and I think because so many people have been cut off, there was like a lot of athletes missing, so it did start to feel lonely. It wasn't as busy as when I started. I finished 14 hours-ish, something like that, and I finished at the same time as Adam Collard from Love Island. When I say we finished at the same time, he was like 5 minutes in front of me, 5 meters in front of me, which meant that when you want to do an Ironman, you will see online that when you cross the finish line, they say, Kate, you are an Ironman. Or at the World Champs, they kept saying, Greg, you're an Ironman. You're an Ironman, Greg. So I was waiting for, Kate, you're an Ironman. All of this. So like, this is what you dream of when you're doing the Ironman. They're the only words you want to hear. And they're 14 hours and you're like, my time. And I crossed the line at the same time as Adam Collard. So I heard Adam Collard get the Adam, you're an Ironman. You're from Love Island. It's great to have you here.
Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. It's Adam Collard from Love Island. First time on the Magic Ironman carpet. The triple threat. Ironman 70.3 Staffordshire, Ironman UK Pennington, and Ironman 70.3 Swansea. Adam Collard, you are an Ironman.
I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything. You literally couldn't write. I think I was the only person at the whole of that event that didn't get the name shouted out. Yeah, I did find it funny, but what are the chances? I wish I could have sped up as well, or I could have just slowed down, but you know, we are where we are. So you finish the Ironman, and then you get whisked into a little tent, and they give you like pizza or food or whatever you want. I wasn't hungry. I did then come home and have a full Domino's large pizza and a tub of Ben & Jerry's, so I was hungry by that point, but at that point I wasn't, and I just like wanted to get through the tent. Like, I want to see people. So I kind of whisked my way through, got my t-shirt, changed the size, and then you like go through a little pen, and then you get to finally get back to the public and where your family are. And I thought I would cry, but I didn't. I cried more during the event when I was in pain than a happy tears at the end. So I finished, and the smile on my face, I mean, I think I've got like some pictures of when I'm like walking towards my family and I'm like and then the next few days I felt like a movie star. Like, I honestly felt like when I was walking down the street, people were like, oh wow, she's an Ironman. And I know they weren't. I know that. I didn't look any different, but I definitely felt different. Like, I genuinely felt different. I told everyone at work, anyone that would listen. The next day I had half a day off. I went for brunch with my mum, told everyone in the cafe. My mum bought me flowers. I don't care, even now, like, the thing with triathletes, you end up criticising your performance afterwards. I should have done that. And there's been part of me that's thought that, especially when, you know, you see Ironmans where people get a lot faster times because the course is easier, and then I think, well, why didn't I do that? But genuinely, I am still very, very proud and happy that I did that, and I don't really care what time it was. Genuinely do not care which time it was. Feeling afterwards, and then when you go on to do other races, like, you say to yourself, I'm an Ironman. I can do this. In the race the other week with Greg, he was like, do you want to walk up the hill? And I thought, you cheeky sod, I'm an Ironman. Do I want to walk? Excuse me? So yeah, you definitely just feel like a new person-ish, yeah. So that was my Ironman Bolton experience. It is a tough, it's a tough gig. The bike this time for the 70.3 won't be as hilly as it was for that full one, so that's not going to zap your legs as much. The run though is still rolling hills and it is hilly. and the swim is murky, and the weather is probably going to be inclement because it's UK and it's the north, and you know the weather's never good, so it might be good. If it is good, that's good. I'm going to be there watching, but I'm not going to be doing it. It's too expensive. So yeah, but it is a real good race. But even if you're thinking about doing an Ironman full, or even a half distance, or even a sprint triathlon, like you don't have to do an Ironman. There's this like thing where people are like, oh, have you done a full Ironman? It doesn't matter if you've done even a super sprint, like it's still impressive. So just do what you want to do. But I just want people to know that you can do it. You don't have to be like an elite athlete. You don't have to be coming top whatever in your age group. Like you can just finish it and enjoy it and like be happy that you've done it. It's a long day. It's a 14-hour day. It's crazy that your body can even do that. So comparison is the thief of joy, and that is extremely true, and I should tell myself more often, because I do compare myself a lot. If you want to give one a go, then do it. And if you're gonna give Bolton a go, then do it, because I'm gonna be there cheering for you. So you know, what more could you want? If you need any tips, or if you want any advice about the 70.3, then let me know. So anyway, there we are. That's the debrief that you've never knew you needed a year later after the race. I still to this day say it wasn't as hard as the brutal half Ironman or up Snowdon. No way. No way. The hard part is the training beforehand and the sacrifices you have to make. And now I've waffled for so long, and I don't even know if any of this is going to make sense. So I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I am sorry if this is a long chatty video. I hopefully have given you some insight as to what Ironman UK is like, but if, like I say, you need any more tips or any other Ironmans, then just let me know. I'm not like saying I'm a pro, I'm very much a beginner, but there's a lot of beginners out there. If you could like and subscribe, I would be very grateful, and I will see you in my next video.